Can you please share one thing you'd like your Malaysian fans to know about you?
One thing I'd like my Malaysian fans to know about me is I actually love Malaysian food. It's amazing.
Really?
I've only had it once. I was in New York, and weirdly, I think it happened in February last year, and I forgot that I had to do interviews in Asia.
Oh.
And randomly, I ended up in a restaurant in New York, and I got a phone call, and it was from my record label, and I'm like, why are they calling me? What do they want? And then I answered, and then it was like a full thing of interviews, and I was in a Malaysian restaurant, and I had to do like 90 minutes of interviews in this Malaysian restaurant, and I was eating at the same time. And it was like an immersive experience, and I loved the food. It was ridiculous. So I need to come and try it.
Yes, 100%. You are most definitely gonna have the time of your life here. So it brings me to kind of want to get to know you a little better. You actually grew up on a farm, North Ireland, and your family actually had a family business, JC Stewart, a grocery store. I wanted to ask you, how did that like transition to pursuing music?
I mean, if I'm being honest, when I was growing up, I was never very active on the farm. I wasn't, getting covered in mud. I did a little bit, but I think we all realized that it probably wasn't for me.
Right.
I've always been a city boy, even though I grew up in the countryside. I don't know why. But then, I sort of started doing music when I was like 14, 15 properly. And then by the time I was 17 or 18, my dad was he was running the grocery business, and that he was the fourth generation of it. And we just had a chat, and he was like, do you think you want to do this? And I think I was like, not really. But he told me he didn't really want me to do it either, because he'd had an amazing time, but he was like, go see the world, go travel, go live your life. And then he ended up selling it. I still got the name, so it's still there. And I mean, my parents have been unbelievably supportive of the whole thing, and it's just, it was never really an option. It was just, it happens, you know?
Well, hey, at least you're carrying the family business in your own way.
In a different way. And it is really cool. Like, my family love it when it's up on, posters or billboards or online or MTV or whatever it is. And it's like, it is kind of cool to see the family.
Yeah, like, that's my boy. Cool. Okay, so you actually just released your EP, When the Light Hits the Room. Can you please share a little bit more about your EP?
Yeah, so I wrote the EP back in October with Tom Odell, who's an absolute hero of mine, and basically the record label said, if you can get us an EP in 2 weeks, we'll be able to put it out. So me and him sat in it, we wrote it start to finish, and put it out 2 weeks after that. So it was kind of intense, but it was amazing. And it's just an EP about discovering myself and realizing that I have no idea what I want, and that every time I what I want and find it, it's never it. And that was what the whole thing was written about.
So before we go into Break My Heart, can you please tell us about your Malaysian fan favorite, Lying That You Love Me? It's such a big banger here.
Really? It's so crazy to hear that. People keep telling me this, and obviously because I haven't been there, I'm like, what? Really?
Yeah.
It's so cool to see that. I mean, I wrote that song in Wales with a couple of friends of mine, and it is what it is. It says exactly what it is. It's a breakup song about missing someone, even though you know that it was not a good thing necessarily. But you're like, somehow knowing what it was, even though it was bad, is sometimes easier than looking into the future, and it's sometimes less scary than looking into the future. That's what that song is kind of about. But it's so cool to hear that people are still listening.
Yeah, absolutely. I think your song, like, I resonated well with it. Like, hearing it and seeing the video for the first time really took me back to the first relationship I had, which made me feel like, this is not entirely the best relationship ever. But really well done music video, really took me somewhere. So thank you for that. So your song Break My Heart, wow, it's literally, you said it's about someone who can ruin a city for you in one night. Can you share a little something about that?
I mean, so I wrote it with friends of mine, sort of Plested and Niall Horan from One Direction. We were just all like, the song was it was a weird way of writing it, because we were both working with the same producer at the time, and both kind of working on this song, and then we just were like, let's just work on it together. And we were both talking about that feeling when, especially on tour, or when you're thinking, you meet someone quite quickly and you're like, oh my goodness, this could be it, this is everything, and it never is. and I can never go back there again. That's done. That's over. So it's essentially about that feeling, and we both were talking about sort of LA and how it's happened. Everybody we know in music in LA, and we were like, yeah, let's write it about that time that we had. Yeah.
It's great songwriting, actually. But how was it like working with Niall Horan?
It was cool. I mean, unfortunately, we never got to do it in person. Like, I've met Niall loads of times, and because we're Irish musicians, we have no chance. And but yeah, we didn't get to write this in person, so we did it all over text message and email. And it was really fun though, and he's been unbelievably supportive of it. He's been tweeting and Instagramming about it and texting me, and yeah, it's if you told me sort of a year or two ago that I'd be having a song like that I wrote with Niall Horan that he's helping me out with, it's crazy. It's really crazy.
Right? Well, you're only about to get bigger and bigger, and the song is. What a time to be alive, to be writing bangers through text messages, videos, and stuff like that, right? Yeah, so your music video, Break My Heart, can you share a little bit about that? That really hit home for me, though.
Yeah, I love that video. So I worked with my friend Charlie Sarsfield, who did this video for I Need You to Hate Me as well. And we went to like the south coast of England, and we just got a cool car. We got, a lovely actress in, and we just filmed all these really cool scenes. And at the end of the day, I remember I was like driving around this field in the car, per actress beside me, just holding on for dear life because she was like, I didn't know if I could drive or not. And I was gunning this thing down a field. And then, we ended up driving down to the cliffs over the sea, and it was the most unbelievable sunset I've ever seen. Like, we couldn't have planned it. And so all the light and everything you see, most of it's like real coming off like the sea, and it was really special. I loved it. It was freezing though. Oh my goodness, it was like 2 degrees.
Really?
So,
I couldn't tell. You guys were great acting. So a few more questions before we call it a day. So I want to know, which song would you like someone to listen to who doesn't know who JC Stewart is?
I mean, apart from the new ones, which I think are the ones you should listen to. If you're going back to the old ones, I think my favorite old one that you should listen to is Like I Did, which I released in 2018. And I just like playing that song live is like a different, it just hits differently. I don't know why, I love it. And it's just the one that through the test of like time has lasted the longest for me, that I still love the most. So yeah.
So now that your EP is out, I want to ask you, what is next for JC Stewart?
I'd like to leave the house at some point soon. That would be fun.
Hey, you and I both, man.
I haven't talked to people in months. No, a lot more music coming out this year. All being well, shows and traveling. Who knows? But I mean, that's what I'm born to do. That's what I love to do. That's what all musicians love to do. So that's what I'm really aiming for. But until then, all I can do is make more music, which is why I'm in here. All I do now is make music every day. So a lot of new music coming for sure.
That's great. I mean, I can see the passion behind you. You're literally just in your element. So last but not least, what is your message to your Malaysian fans? You are so loved here.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening to a guy from Northern Ireland's music. It's kind of mad. And I cannot wait to come play shows, eat food, and just hang out with you all. It's going to be so much fun.
Awesome.
It's going to be worth it. It's going to be worth the wait.
Yes.
Fly FM.